question is, are you ready?
What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Throwdown Nation, what is going on? It is a Wednesday night, May 27th, 2026. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. It is episode 232 of The Throwdown, the community on the interwebs where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt, and today we are going to have some fun. We're talking with a fella from right here in my home state of Georgia, an absolute veteran of the ring wars, a guy who has been wrestling since 1989 and is still going strong at age 57. The rocker himself, Terry Lawler. How you doing tonight?
Hey guys, thanks for having me here. Apologize for the delay of game, but I'm here. As long as you need me to talk, I'm here all night long. Like I said, I apologize for the late start, but we're here.
That's all that matters, man. I mean, I'm just glad it worked out. And for those of you watching live, let me direct your attention to the ticker that's running on the bottom of the screen. That contains all, or at least most, of Terry's social media accounts, along with mine. So do us a favor, if you aren't following or subscribed, take the time and go to each of our platforms and do so. It definitely helps both of us. And for those of you also watching live, if you have questions or comments, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. So, in the introduction, we covered how long you've been wrestling, but who actually trained you?
So, my brother, Steve the Brawler Lawler, he was 4.5 years older than me, stuff. So he's the one that got into their business first, and then I started doing some photography work. I did photography work for some of the wrestlers in the programs for Jody Hamilton's original Deep South Wrestling back in the 80s, and also for Jerry Blackwell's AWA Southern Wrestling. And then, of course, a few years later, and I get the itch. We didn't have nothing fancy. We had carpet padding, put it on the basement floor. And so I learned to take slams and hip tosses on pretty much concrete for the most part. It was just very little padding. And I had just three workouts before he said, "Hey, I got you an early birthday gift. Here's your first match." I'm like, okay. So yeah, not much workout. But I tell everybody, then afterwards, he opened up a training school with Big Bully Music and Bill Eadie in Alpharetta. Some of the same people came out of that training camp was Buff Bagwell, Disco Inferno. It is, some good people came out of that era, all that stuff. But I know I tell everybody, it's like, I'm a rookie of 37 years and going on, because every time I'm in a match, I learn something different. So I'm still learning, and still having fun. That's the good part about it.
That's the main thing. Yeah. Interestingly enough, a friend of mine by the name of a guy named Steve Head who actually was in your brother's first grade class.
Yeah.
Was the one that initially told me about you, and then you know I've been kind of watching your stuff, and I actually caught your match at the 1FW show out in Winder back in March. And after seeing you wrestle, I knew I had to get you on the show. So
Thank you, sir. Yes, it's like I said, I've been blessed with the longevity I have, and to be still somewhat relevant. I'm the current Georgia Classic Championship Wrestling for the third time, and I still got a lot of the younger kids who are asking for matches to wrestle and stuff. So I don't take it lightly. I'm very humble that one, the fans still like to see me wrestle. Two, I'm still not as active I was 30 something years ago, but I was still in pretty good shape. And promoters still will use me. They have faith in me to be the face of their company. And just I give all the credit to God for above everything, because he gave my health back, because I thought I was done in 2017 with a lot of injuries and going on like that. And they said I wasn't. And like one person told me, she goes, "This is part of your story." So, and every time he
yep.
gives me opportunities to talk about God, of how he's protected me in this business and outside the business, and keeps me healthy enough and active for what I keep doing. So every time I get a chance, I put him out there. And so, yeah, because he can take it away, it's easy to give it to me in a heartbeat.
Absolutely, and without him, we can do nothing. So,
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah, it's the thing that's really been exciting the last few years, especially, it seems like there is a spiritual revival going on in the wrestling industry. I'm noticing a lot of talents are either coming to a saving knowledge of Christ, or are being more outspoken about beliefs that they've had. Like there's a young guy, Nathan Frazier, who is currently wrestling for WWE, and he has two separate Instagram accounts, one for his wrestling and the other is just completely Christian stuff that he's doing. And it's exciting to see that stuff happening, because professional wrestling, as you know, can be a very dark place if you let it. But the people that are trying to be the light in the darkness are just that's just the coolest thing in the world.
So earlier this year, I was on a show with he's a known actor, Paul Walter Hauser.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played. He's a fantastic support, most of the release stuff. He was in the bomb here in Atlanta, the Olympic bomb. So he's been all over the place. But met him on the show, and just happened just randomly had my Fantastic Four show, so he popped on my shirt before I got to talk to him. And we got talking, and he said, "I like your shirt, but I like the guy around your neck a lot more." And so we got talking about God, and his dad is a pastor, and he's all the time putting turning biblical scriptures and working into his promos. And we talked for about a half an hour just about God and how he's been good to us and all this. So it's good. I've always tried to pray before my matches, and a lot of times we don't search shows. We'll pray as a group, and we don't throw it on nobody. But if you want to pray with us, we'll pray. But I'm talking about you can't go wrong with God.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, I'm presuming that you've been at least a fan of professional wrestling the majority of your life. Is that pretty accurate?
So the man who is, I guess is the right word to say, to inspire me to want to be a pro wrestler was Mr. Wrestling number 2.
Oh yeah, Tim Woods, correct?
Nope, that was Mr. Wrestling number 1. Johnny Walker was Wrestling number 2.
Okay,
and it's so weird is the way this business works is we got to be really good friends over the years, and a couple of us got together and we did he came back from Hawaii and stayed with Randy Rose for a while, and we did a show Miss Wrestling 2 Classic in Kennesaw 2014, and we gave him his flowers while he was still here. The whole show was about him. All the money raised went with him and medical expenses, with his age and everything like that stuff. And a lot of people who's came out. The lady came out and put his mask back on, and you had Paul Orndorff came out. Rhubarb Jones was a local celebrity radio host that get him. Like, it was just a lot of people came out just to show the love. And what I liked about him was he didn't rush through none of the. He had a table set up, and he didn't rush through none of his conversations with the fans. And as long as you want to, he stayed in his mask for the whole show until the last person got the last photo, the last conversation, whatever they wanted. He made sure that they got their one-on-one time with him, and he was just very professional. And it was just a cool thing that my hero got to be really good friends and show him my appreciation along with everybody else stuff. So back to the question, Wrestling 2 was the one that inspired me. Of course, you got your Dusty Rhodes and everything else, but Wrestling 2 was the main one that drove me.
Yeah. I've been a fan since I was around the age of 11, and I'll be 57 in September, and I got my start as a kid in Florida watching the old Florida Championship Wrestling back in the early 80s with Gordon Soley doing commentary. And the first feud I was invested in was Dusty Rhodes and Kevin Sullivan. And when you're 11 years old, Kevin Sullivan was a scary dude. You come to find out later the guy was a complete sweetheart, behind the scenes. But he had the whole satanic gimmick going on at the time. And man, I feel like in many ways he was sort of a forerunner for The Undertaker and Bray Wyatt and some of the edgier sort of supernatural type characters. Kevin Sullivan really paved. Go ahead.
Him and Mark Lewin was a good combination for bringing that dark side and put it out there and they did it really good.
They did. So. I know that you and your grandson have some stuff you're doing on social media as Poops and Pops. Tell us a little bit about that. How did that come to be?
All right, so it's a weird full circle. Like I said, I told you I had the 27th available to do this show, and one reason I kept on saying, and I told him it's Thursday, because I got him for the week. He's in with my mom right now. I think he's listening in, but we were at Six Flags today. It was like 6 years ago. It had those little poop emoji hats, and we bought him one. And I'm just my mind's always processing and coming up with catchy little sayings. And so I took a little selfie. Look, the Adventures of Poops and Pops, and we're like, that could be something. So we played around and started with TikTok, and we just have fun. It's our thing. We get together maybe once or twice a month, and we'll do a bunch of series of that and get other family members and friends involved. Sometimes we'll go to the wrestling show, we'll get the wrestlers involved. And what we did, so we just do reviews of snacks, and not all of them are good snacks. Some of them are bad snacks, but that's what the ratings go for sometimes. But we just love doing it, it gives us some quality bonding time, and we'll stay up till sometimes 3:00 on the weekends, just doing videos, hanging out, and just having fun. And it's just a clean product we put out,
That's awesome, and I can tell, looking at some of your stuff, that you and he have an amazing bond, and that is just so cool.
He tells everybody that he's like an old soul trapped in a young kid's body, and I'm just a kid trapped in an old man's body. So we're like two peas in a pod. We're equally set, and sometimes we get dangerous together, but we have fun. And he's my dude, and
yep.
You said kids keep us young,
They do. like I mentioned, I've got a 17-year-old son. He's actually out tonight over at a friend's house. But yeah, man, he's an amazing kid, and
Yeah.
I can't recommend fatherhood enough. But looking over at the Instagram chat, we've actually got a young lady in there. She actually was on the show several months ago on a Superfan Spotlight episode, and she is actually now a trainee at House of Champions down in Orlando, Florida.
Oh, nice.
Actually training to wrestle. And she has a question for you, and that is, what is your favorite move of all time that you have in your move set, and what has been the hardest move for you to learn?
Oh, I haven't learned it. I've tried it too many times. It's the drop kick, and I got too much butt in my butt to weigh me down, so I'm just not a drop kicker. Uh, but it's just I always try to throw in, as I call it, the dusty jabs, a bunch of lefts, and slowly building up the fans to get behind, and of course the big roll up elbow. And obviously you mentioned
yeah.
already, Dusty's one of the guys. But it was cool is Dusty Rose was my boss for a while here in Georgia because he had Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was living in St. Louis, so I would come here back. So I wasn't on the full time roster, but I had enough, shows. It was just cool to say Dusty my boss, so I still throw that in there. And when TCW came back, they revived the brand and with the Dusty Rhodes Foundation for a while. It's cool to get back to be on some of the shows. And I actually got one of the turnbuckle pads on my wall. I'm looking at it right now, hanging up on my wall with my wrestling and stuff on. And it was just cool to have a piece of history back. But Dusty jabs and the big bionic elbow. And then the question was, the hardest move to learn is the drop kick for me.
Gotcha. So, we're you and I are contemporaries age-wise, and you know as well as I do that for me, once I got into my 50s, man, your body starts doing weird stuff, and I've thrown my back out sneezing, just weird stuff like that. And you're still wrestling at age 57. So just out of curiosity, have you changed your in-ring style to be able to wrestle safer so that your body can take the beating that it takes at this age, or is it just good genes, or what do you attribute your longevity to?
It's funny. On the similar lines, I pulled up to a show over almost into Alabama, and one of the younger kids, because like you, I'll be 57 this year as well. So I call everybody kids, because I'm the old man. I ain't got to put hardly park my car. He pops in my passenger seat and he goes, "Hey, my girlfriend told me I need to come and talk to you." I'm like, what? She goes, "How do you keep doing this? You keep moving, and you're still active. You're not as active as Mike Jackson, because we all need to be asking Mike Jackson what's the secret behind that." But at my age, and I did a lot of hardcore, so I beat my body, and I told him, I was, I'm not Hulk Hogan, but I've been taking multi-pack vitamins since high school. God above everybody. I give God all the credit because he's, I keep saying this, and it's going to be a thing for the whole conversation. Y'all keep throwing God out there stuff, because without him, I don't have this. But I call my style of wrestling. I'm like the similar to Dusty Rhodes. I don't do a lot of the high fly moves, but I connect to the fans, and that's always been my switch is I can connect to the fans. And that's all I really need. I still do my moves, but without the fans, there's no us. Otherwise, you're just practicing match. You're just out there practicing matches and moves. So you need the fans. And sometimes some of the younger generations, they get so locked into the match they forget why we're there. It's good if you can pop the boys behind the curtain, but if you can't pop the fans and pop the boys, then you needed to change something going on, stuff like that. But I've always been lucky, and even when I was the bad guy for those shows, I connected to the fans, and that's what kept me driving. But I didn't really get healthy until I hit 50. For a long time, I let myself go, and you got what you got, and I got crap, I got a son, I got grandkids. I might be here a little bit longer than I need to be, so I decided to get fit at 50. Did some good, so I got really fit at 51, and I try to go to the gym at least 3 to 5 days a week. Sometimes I'll show up, sometimes I'll show out at the gym, but just get there and just keep moving, and that's the thing, keep moving.
Absolutely. So over on YouTube, 305 Owen, is that your grandson? Yeah,
that's true.
yeah. He was talking about how you do food reviews, and he wants to know what is the best thing and worst thing you have tried.
All right, so we say one of the worst things ever is it's a toss up. It's between Hidden Valley Ranch ice cream. Yeah,
Ooh.
ranch. Yes, ranch ice cream
Oh,
that he bought for us, and then the other one was Sour Patch Kids popcorn. That's some of the worst stuff we've ever had. And then some of the best stuff is I'll go back to this here. I have another bag here. This here is really good stuff. It's like Munchums, but it's got a barbecue flavor. Mr. Beast, One Up. We got a lot of different people we get sponsored through. But is this really good stuff? But yeah, Hidden Valley Ranch ice cream we do not recommend at all.
no, that just does not sound good at all. Yeah, I had a friend back in high school who used to eat peanut butter and mayonnaise sandwiches, and I thought that was bad, but Hidden Valley ice cream, that's even worse.
There's somebody did a video where they're putting the chicken wings in the ice cream. I'm like, why? Just do ranch dressing, but it's nasty. I don't recommend it.
Yep. No. Again, looking over at the Instagram chat, a previous guest, a wrestler up in Minnesota, El Payaso Enigmatico, has joined, and he's given you your flowers, man. He's remarking what a legend you are and saying that everything you say is 100% true. So,
Does he got the right Lawler, right? He knows he's not talking about Jerry, right? I appreciate the flower stuff. I've had a good run, and I don't think it's over. I hope it's not over because I'm having too much fun again. And like I said, I enjoy sharing knowledge with anybody. Or anybody wants to watch a match, I'll watch a match. And I did my first ever. And it took me 36 years to do my first ever seminar, and it was up in Indiana through one of my son's wrestling buddies. Runs a show, who was doing a show in Indiana, asked me to come up and do it, and it was myself and Bobo Brazil Jr. We did back-to-back seminars for the kids up there, so it was pretty cool. And I realized I do have some knowledge to share, so it made me feel appreciated and needed. So it was good.
Gotcha. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually pretty much yourself turned up to 11. So, tell us about, in-ring Terry Lawler. Tell us about the Rocker and kind of compare and contrast him with everyday you.
Can you see the picture behind me a little bit?
Yeah.
They got Elvis stuff. So one of my first real true gimmick that I felt connected to was, I mentioned earlier offline chat the Superstars of Wrestling with the 8-hour block of wrestling shows. It was Bonnie Blackstone and Joe Pedicino for a long time, right?
Yep.
Well, I had shaved my head, And it started going back, and Bonnie looked at me. She goes, "Hey, you look like a young Elvis. You need to do something with that." So what? I had a bunch of Elvis albums at home, so I started going through it and trying to find something that clicked. And the Jailhouse Rock, I added the ER, so Jailhouse Rocker, it clicked. And it's not the best song to come out to, so I think I ended up changing it to a different Elvis tune. Um, but yeah, one of the first time I did it was up in Dalton, Georgia, and I had several older generation ladies start screaming and hollering as if I really was Elvis. And me being at the time, me being the time I stole in my shell, like kind of real quiet, shy, timid kid, is I didn't know whether to run away or fall through and keep shaking those hips. So luckily, I kept shaking those hips and fall through, and that was like one of my most fun and favorite gimmick. And it wasn't the honky tonk man style with the jumpsuit stuff. That this was based off a younger Elvis. I had like long trunks, usually a button up shirt with the sleeves curled up, and you had a gold made jacket or a leather jacket and chaps. I would change it, but it was never a knockoff, a TV version of Honky Tonk Man. It was my own version of a tribute to Elvis in wrestling, and I felt it. And so, getting a couple of tag team matches, they started chanting Rocker. So that's where the Rocker name came, and it stuck with me stuff. And then when for the longest time, I never used a Lawler last name like my brother did, and because I wanted to make my own mark in this business and didn't want to ride on any coattails. And the funny thing is, you got so many people who are brothers and the rest that are not. There's so many out there. So when we started using the name, a lot of people, because we were so different, and thank God we were so different that a lot of people thought it was just, like the new Fargos, with no relation at all. It's the last name, but we were actually blood brothers. And so that was the Jaws Rocker was a very gimmick. So the rocker part stuck forever. And I started, letting my hair grow out, had my leather jacket, and now actually I've been a proud owner of 5 different Harleys. So I was a Harley, so the biker look for a long time. But the name Mr. Rocker just always stuck with me. And you say this is me. I'm just always happy, hyped up. And if I'm having fun, I'm going to race happy. And I tell people, if I'm in a race show and I'm in a good mood, you'll see it. You'll see it and you'll feel it because I'm in the crowd cutting everybody's stuff and just trying to get everybody those one-on-one fan experience on an independent level. And I enjoy it, like. And one thing I've been doing the last several years is, and I've been trying to teach these younger generations, whether you're the good guy or bad guy, it's easy to either high five that person in the front row, and sometimes the second row because they're right there with you, and you can jaw jack if you're the heel, jaw jack with them. But I always try to get these people further back, love. And see, sometimes I'll go zigzag through the crowds. I'll make my way. I'll go up the bleachers, and one of my video stuff is my first wrestling show I ever went to was in Beaufort, Georgia, at the high school gym. And my great uncle, and that's where I saw wrestling too. And Black Atlas, which is now Tony Atlas, and your Kevin Sullivan. You mentioned Kevin when Kevin was still powerlifting, he had the big old thighs. But we got there early. Was in line because there was no real reserved seats back in those days. When the shows came to town. And dude, we're in a good spot in the line. And the doors open. I think we're going to get close to ringside because that's where the action is. And no, he went to the very top of the bleachers, middle of the ring, top of the bleachers, both way, and then that was his spot. So, and I never even thought to ask him why that was his spot. But that's where he wanted to be all the time. So when I go to the crowds, I make a where I want to find that person the furthest away. And I'll act a fool until they respond back to me, whether it's a wave or whatever, make me, what they want to do, throw stuff in. But I let them know that whatever reason, whether they couldn't afford the good seats or that's where they want to be, that's my way of acknowledging them being in the crowd, buying a ticket because they could have went anywhere else, and supporting us what we do. So I want them to see me, that I see them as well. Stuff. So it's just a respect, love I like to give to those people stuff because they don't get it. So they don't ask for it. But that's
Right.
one thing is I can connect to those fans, and that's where I thrive the most is those connection with the fan base.
Absolutely. You were talking about brothers in wrestling, and while you were talking about that, I was having a memory of back in the '80s on Georgia Championship Wrestling. I remember when they ran the angle where they revealed that Brett Wayne and Buzz Sawyer were
Oh yeah,
brothers. Yeah, I was probably 14 or 15 at the time. I had no clue, and I was just like, that is
yes.
just the coolest thing in the world,
But then once they said it, you look at the faces, and you go, "Dude, one had long hair,
Yeah,
one did." But you see it in the face, you're like, you can't deny it
yeah,
now.
yeah, and you're like, how did I miss it? you know.
Exactly. Yeah. But
So
like it's like the Anderson not even contend, but they had that look. But you cannot deny that Brett Wayne was not Buzz's little brother.
oh yeah, for sure. Once you see it, yeah.
You can't
But
undo it.
no, no. So this is probably going to be a hard question, but you've been doing this 37 years. If you can narrow it down, what would you say is your favorite match that you've been a part of?
Ooh, that's a tough one. It is. I've had a lot of cool moments, but the best match I was is it took me 35 years to get a match in the books because I've had a lot of books that just gets canceled for it and was and my hometown Beaver, Georgia. It
Hmm.
took me 37, and there it was of all places. I would like to have been. I mentioned earlier about the old Beaver Gym. It would be cool, but it's not available anymore. But was at the uh, old tannery, which kept Beaver,
Yeah,
Georgia alive. So they turned it into a ale house, a venue for food, like Raspberry concerts, all this stuff. So, and the thing was, it is my dad worked in that building. A couple of my aunts and uncles worked in that building. I think my grandmother might have worked at the building. So it's like a family tradition. I got to work in that same building that they did over the years stuff, and it still said tannery. So it was there, and I got to wrestle one of my wrestling kids, Chip Day, who's really good. He makes me look better than I should be, but it was just one of those favorite matches that that took forever, and it was just a special moment. The match was great. We were the kick off the whole series for the whole year, and we sold out, and they never had a crowd that big. It's our match, and that wasn't just because our matches. The whole show was a good quality show. Just happened to be me being the main event in my hometown crowd, but I got to see people that I had forgot about my childhood came out and support me, and it was almost like a who's who of through the years because we had a delay getting the tickets going, so I was out there interacting with the crowd, keeping them busy and talking to myself. I know you, I know you, I know you. I'm like, wow, this is cool. They supported this old man, and they knew how much this meant to me. This was a bucket list item for not just in wrestling, but just in life, just to do that. Um, so it was cool. I said that's probably one of my favorites for personal reasons. Um, cool moments, I would say, wrestling wise, would be I was part of Ron Simmons' retirement match in Cedartown, Georgia,
hmm,
along with Air Paris, Butcher Bobby Hayes, David Young, Christy Hemme was involved in the match, and Brian Alexander. So it was like a six-man tag. So we were part of Ron's retirement match. Another cool moment was when I brought back the jailhouse rocker Elvis gimmick back almost on my anniversary date. I was good friends with Robert Gibson. So he asked about getting him on show. So the guy promoter said, "Well, I'll get him blah 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 for a personal appearance." So I went back to Robert and he said, "No, I want to be on the show and I want to tag with you on your return." I thought, "Oh shit!" Rock and Roll Express. Robert Gibson, wants to be my tag partner for my big comeback, and he's a huge Elvis fan. You never be on a road show till you have Robert Gibson sing Elvis to you, so that was a pretty cool deal. Um, moments like that, and he and I got tagged up a few times, and we did a tag match at the Gulf Coast Wrestling Union down in Mobile, and there's a picture of me doing my Elvis pose, and Robert's right behind me doing the same pose, and I never knew he did that until somebody sent me the photo, something like that. But 37 years, I've been blessed to have a lot of cool moments, but I guess my all-time favorite was my show, my homecoming show. That's what they actually call it, was a homecoming show. So,
Absolutely,
sorry for the ramble.
man.
Sorry for the rambling on, but that was just a kind of.
Oh no.
Like it all added back
Man,
up.
I love hearing stories like this. Absolutely. One thing that I ran across when I was putting together the promotional reel for your appearance, that there was some footage of you wearing the old T-shirt from the old Turtles record store
Yes.
chain, and man, that took me back. Yeah, I had almost forgotten about Turtles, and then it got me missing 96 Rock. But man, when 96 Rock changed formats, it all but killed me. I loved that station.
Oh, it was the logo was good. The whole show was good. They knew what they were doing. They had it lined up. It was a good music stuff. And I think when they flipped to 99X, when they became or something, they flipped over. Moved
Something
further
like
down
that,
the
yeah.
dial. They moved further down the dial, and they lost the spots. And it was just, it was things
It
changed.
was, yeah, the end of an era.
Yeah.
So this question ought to probably generate some funny responses, because I've got a feeling you've had your share of these over the years. What have been some of the most unusual encounters you've had with fans?
I was telling my grandson this earlier this week. We were down in Zebulon, Georgia, and it was a 2-day show in the parking lot. This promoter was good about going around selling shows all over the place. You put a ring up, we put one up, take the money, get paid. It was Zebulon, Georgia, and I was taking a break from doing my Bayface gimmick stuff. So I had like a Bruce Lee button down Japanese look with the cuffs, the sleeves, and the full mask with the screen like that stuff. Anyway, so day one, I beat up the U.S. heavyweight champion and won the belt. And I rolled out of the ring. When I rolled out of the ring, this good old boy had pulled a knife on me. And I was supposed to be a from the Orient, so I real quickly spoke some very good Southern English. And I told him I don't effing suggest him try this. So he looked at me, looked at the knife. He was trying to give the knife to other people to cut me, because I beat up their U.S. heavyweight champion and stole the belt. The Japanese took the belt, right? Well, we went back for day two, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's back! He's back!" So I do my thing like that. I go to the ring, he leaves. So that was a pretty altercation where I almost got stabbed, but I was not in the mood for that. I actually had walking pneumonia that weekend. So we put the ring up Saturday, wrestled in the heat, wrestled Sunday in the heat, took the ring down, drove across the country, switched vehicles, and drove to Alpharetta, and I did a 15-minute Broadway, and then another 5 more minutes. So I was beat with pneumonia and stuff like that. But that was a pretty intense moment. Trying to think anything else that's crazy that happened. We was doing a show for NCW in the Carolinas, and it was a bar show where all the wrestlers, not wrestlers, where the fans were allowed to be up against the ring. That's where the Hardy Boys. I was with the Hardy Boys when they first broke into business up in the Carolinas.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just a weird bar show scene, right a crowd, and I had a habit of walking the top rope, kind of the spoiler, or you want to go with the Undertaker, who you want to go with. And the kid grabbed the rope. Luckily, I reached up and grabbed the banister. Grabbed the banister quick, and so I didn't want to fall out. And the guy was right behind me, and I'm up against the ropes. I'm up, moved over a little bit, I lined it up. He didn't know what's going on. I told the Bulldog Range to clothesline me over the top rope. When he did, I swung backwards and I hooked the rope with my arm, and back of my foot caught me back at the head and slammed it down the mat. And I hooked it and rolled back in the ring like that. So just let him know that, don't mess with the wrestlers in my own way, stuff like that. And I'm usually not a bad guy. I'm not a tough guy, but it kind of shook me up a little bit because he could have caused me to, really get hurt coming off the top rope like that. It's being stupid, but um, we tell a story where I had to wrestle my brother. I think my Memorial this time back in 2004, I think it was. And the promoters somehow sensed sometimes that me and my brother were not getting along, so they would put us in real fights. But this particular show is we were getting along good. And on the way there, I told him, I said, we're done. I said, I'm tired of them making money off the brother versus brother feud, right? And because it was pretty brutal a lot of times. There's one picture. He's got a pair of surgical scissors where the tip of the scissors is hanging out. So it was nothing for. He's actually jabbing me in the head with scissors because we didn't talk. We nothing about the match. They said you win, you lose, figure it out. So everything was live, legit. Shoot. Yeah. But like I said, back this time, I told him, I said, we're done. This is the last singles match we're going to do for other people to make money off of it, right? And then when we get there, and I was like, what match are we? They go, you're our fourth match. So you're a mid card. And it was a brother versus brother Rome Georgia street fight match. So I told him, I said, and this is the first time I took over because usually he's the vet. So I said, this is the last time we do it, and we're going to get numb. So we're going to get a 30-pack of beer. We're going to give them a show. We're going to tear this place apart. And then nothing was pulled. And later on, I'll see the link to the match. There's a certain key point where I'm laying in the ring, and it's the crunchiest sound you ever heard with metal hitting skull. And it was sick. But got handcuffed. We tore the place apart. We took spiritual assault rope. We did somebody's car by accident. Trashed some chairs. Trashed some trash cans. We just made a mess of the place. And it did such a good sales job at the end of stuff. Somebody called the cops. Somebody tried to call 911 because he was still putting the boots to me after I was dead, right? He killed me. And it was just a great sales job. But it was you're the link. It's 24 minutes into the match. And the match had already started, so it was a good over a half hour of just us beating the crap out of each other. But it was good storylines. And when we got done, they had put the place back together. And a lot of people said that was their main event because the main event was the cage match, but it didn't do nothing beyond that. But yeah, fun times,
No doubt. So, as I was mentioning, you and I both came up in the territory days. So back in those days, what was your favorite territory? What did you most enjoy watching?
All right, so George Championship Wrestling is always the GOAT in my book for my growing up most of there. When we started doing the 8 hours of shows, I got hooked on Continental Championship Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's this good stuff, the Adrian Streets, the Armstrongs, the Unmasked Nightmares, Dan Davis and Ken Wayne, Tom Pritchard. I mean, it was good. That and then Memphis wrestling was good.
Yeah.
And Memphis could get away with doing anything, whether it was stupid, smart, crazy. It worked in Memphis. If it wasn't working anywhere else, it would work in Memphis. And you have people dressed up as monsters. You had the Mummy, the Wolfman, all those different people in Memphis. And it worked in Memphis. It won't go nowhere else, but in Memphis it would work. So those are some of my favorite ones. Continental, it was raw. And then and I love the belt. I'm a belt mark.
Yeah.
I love their belt had the crowns points on them.
Yep.
But,
go ahead.
No, this memory lanes. I'm enjoying these going down the memory lane here.
Oh, same here, same here. Yeah, I always dug Memphis as a kid. Memphis was my introduction to both Jim Cornette and Jimmy Hart, and love watching both of those guys. And Lance Russell.
Oh yes.
Austin Idol, Jerry Lawler. Memphis was just incredible. And like I said, I initially cut my teeth on the old Florida Championship Wrestling. You had Dusty, Blackjack Mulligan, Barry Windham. It was Mike Graham. It was, the business evolved away from the whole territory thing, but in many ways, I miss that era of wrestling just because it was just so cool because people could easily bounce from territory to territory.
Yeah.
And you could have the dream matches a lot more easily back then than you can now.
Yeah.
So
There was no you had deals, but you didn't have contracts, and
Exactly.
you had a storyline, and you committed to that storyline. And then, like I said, when your time's up, it was no hard feelings. Sometimes it was, but most part, you're like, it's just business. Like, all right, I'm going to give you 3 months here, and I'm going to Texas. I'm going, here or Midwest. Where you want to go? You kind of this is good storytelling, and it kept it fresh for the fans. And and a lot of sometimes the cross promotion, like I'm friends with Scrappy McGowan, and that classic photo
Yeah.
of Ric Flair's belt for NWA, and then Bob
Yeah.
Backlund with his belt for the WWE or WF at the time. It's hard to say that sometimes, but
Yeah.
it's just those memories. Like I said, dream matches you didn't think would happen could happen. You had the class show between with the World Class and Memphis. Some of those matches, like the supercars and stuff like that. And nowadays, you're getting it or you think you're getting it, but WWE owns some of those other promotions. They just bring them in every so often and crisscross. So it's not as special as it was because at the time those were true two different promotions coming together for a show.
Yep. Yep. So I've got kind of a funny story I'll share with you. You remember the old Gwinnett Place Mall?
Yes.
Okay, that opened back around 1984, and I was 14 or 15 at the time when it opened. And my dad and I were at the mall, and we're just walking through the mall, and this is the weirdest thing because he was not there for an appearance. He was just there. Ric Flair is walking through Gwinnett Place Mall, full three-piece suit, woman on each arm, wooing, and he wasn't there for he wasn't there for an appearance. He was just there, and he was just living the gimmick 24/7.
He had to. There's no off switch with him.
Right. But my dad and I just stopped and just kind of stared and watched him walk. It was wild.
You cannot miss Ric Flair, and he's gonna make sure
No.
you don't miss Ric Flair. So I said if he's in a good mood, he wants to interact, he's going to be all out. But if he's not in a good mood, he'll let you know real quick. Not today. That. But yeah, it's cool that we were at the Alpharetta Mall. What was that called? North Point Mall.
Point. Yeah.
And we were eating one place. I'm looking. We're like squinting eyes. I'm like, that guy's got some big old arms. This is a big old tattoo, bald head. That's freaking Goldberg was at a jewelry store at that mall with that, and he took time with their fans about this stuff. And that's what I like seeing people who are this level in the business and still remember it being at this level. And remember, it's the fans that pays us. If you're having a bad day, I get it. Sometimes you see the paparazzi people where they just attack you. But if someone was to politely acknowledge you and not in a vicious way, ask for an autograph for quick photo stuff, I feel like you should do it. Because, like I said, without those people, especially with social media nowadays, it'll blow up in a heartbeat that you was, being a prick or something like that. So,
Right.
remember how you got where you are and who pays your bills to be able to do this stuff. And I'm a big fan of take care of the fans because they'll take care of you.
Right, right. But at the same time, though, fans sometimes lose sight of respecting boundaries, and so I mean, from the fans' perspective, you've got to think, is it really smart or right for me to approach them at this moment? And you've got to come to a sensible decision as to whether you're going to do it or not.
So
So
sometimes I think, I've never been that level of person, but I always feel like if like me and you we're in the same room, we make eye contact, not his, you read the room.
yeah,
Sometimes, and I've seen people like they're like, let me finish eating, and I'll do this, right? Because we're all
yeah,
humans. We got to eat. We need a downtime, and that's why if you're at a rest show, then that's part of your job. But if you're
yep,
out on your own time, it's your leisure. It's your discretion, but you try to have a controlled environment, And like I say, this is like the respect line does get crossed a lot, and I've seen people like that on both sides. Some may having a bad
gotcha.
day, they kind of go off on the fan, and the fan having a bad day or doesn't want to deal with that stuff. But the respect needs to be given on both sides.
Absolutely. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan? Is there a match or matches that are just near and dear to your heart that you find yourself kind of circling back to here and there? Do you have a match or matches that are just special?
One of them that I always like, and I'm glad that the footage finally popped up out of freaking nowhere, was because I was there. Was the last Battle of Atlanta.
Oh yeah,
The
Tommy and Buzz.
Yes, because it is cool. Like I say, and I don't like name dropping, but it's just in 37 years I've had a cool run, and to say that Tom and Rich and I have each other's numbers and we hang out and but just seeing the person that when I was a fan, I thought it was great, but now we're peers. But that was just that was what now we have heaven sell out of because it was the first ever full cage. Had a cage on the top. You had Paul Evan in a bird cage,
Yep.
so to speak. It was just it was the bouncing them up, and it was a lot of crazy madness stuff like that. But that's one that there's like I'm glad that it surfaced and that WWE put it out there and it to share people like that because it was a classic. It was a classic feud and a good blow off. As
Absolutely.
far as pay-per-views, I've always was a big fan of anything that had the Hart Foundation against the British Bulldogs. That was just some,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time I didn't realize they were pretty much all family members, and that's why sometimes like me and my brother you get a little more snug when it's family,
Yep.
and sometimes it goes better for the storylines. But those were some really good matches. Um, Wrestling 2 and Bill Eadie, the Mass Superstar, was some good stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a
There's a. Go ahead.
no, there's the Jake the Snake and the Ronnie Garvin Georgia TV title run was a good one too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm throwing all old matches because I'm old, but those are good stuff.
No, no, I get it. When I have young wrestlers on the show, there is a match that I always tell them to get on YouTube and find it and watch it, and that is it's actually from 1989. The year that you got started. And it was from a WCW Clash of the Champions. It was an I Quit match between Flair and Terry Funk.
Oh yes,
And that match, in my mind, was a master class in storytelling. I mean, that match was just beautifully done. and I mean, you know, two guys really at the peak of their powers at that point. You know, I mean, that match is near perfection in my mind.
I don't feel like Funk got enough love. I mean, toward the end, Andy did, but
He didn't.
he was so creative. A lot of people didn't realize, you know, he was in several movies with like Sylvester Stallone and Patrick Swayze, and I heard that he helped write some of the fight scenes, choreograph the fight scenes to make it more realistic, because he knows how to do stuff like that. But you know, he was a tough SOB on top of everything else like that. But
Mm-hmm.
he needed more love and more flowers before he passed away. But I got to meet him a few times, and yeah, I forgot about that. That was a good match. I'll give you that one.
Yep. Yep. So, you know, you've been doing this, like I said, 37 years, and I'm sure this definitely applies to one degree or another. So I'll ask you what hurts right now, or maybe I should ask what doesn't hurt.
It's crazy is I tweaked my knee at work, but other than that is, you know, I mean, I got arthritis in my thumb and I got arthritis in my ankle. Um, but yeah, and back to, I told you it's gonna be a thing. This year is um, I get up every day. I mean, I've done some hardcore matches, races, and all that, and like it's just business as normal. So I don't know if I'm just too young to realize that I'm hurt and don't realize it, or has really been blessed me to, because I pray every day to keep me active and healthy, to be able to do what I love doing, and to be able to give opportunities to me tell this same story of what God's done for me. And a lot of people don't say how I keep doing this stuff, like you mentioned stuff, but it's, you know, I've been truly blessed. And one of my favorite stories is I was watching my little brother Air Paris. It was a bad ring, and we was around Halloween. It was a cage match, and I was trying to climb off the corner out of the ring, got pulled back down, and then my feet hit the both ropes, and the ropes sunk down and stopped me back up. Especially, and I hit the middle of the ring. And for days and weeks and months, it felt like you ever had like a pulled muscle in your back. You feel like you need to get it adjusted, but it wouldn't adjust. That's what was
Yep.
going on. And I went to an Emory doctor, and I told her off the record what had happened. So, because I don't want my insurance to counsel me for having being a pro wrestler, because they probably would frown upon that. But she said, "Oh, it's probably just a pulled muscle. Take these." And for a while, um, I put up with it and did more shows. But then hey, I went to a specialist, and he did some X-rays. He looked at the X-rays and he started cussing at the former doctor. And basically, what he said is your back is supposed to be like this here. He said your back is actually like this. You broke your back, and she's been letting you beat your body up even more with a broken back. And he said, yeah, you know, kind of shook me off. And kind of like, I don't want to hear what you're going to say that I'm done with wrestling. And so most of my career in Member Brothers Both is she was all against us wrestling, because that's what moms do, right?
Yep.
And so I was dreading that phone call to tell her, hey, I broke my back. And she threw a curveball. She goes, we will pray about this, and you'll be back before you realize it. And so when I went back to the doctor for a checkup, he did more X-rays, looked him over, called in the nurse and said, I need you to verify these are his X-rays. And he looked at it, he goes, medically speaking, I can explain what happened. He said, but whoever you've been talking to, keep talking to him. He said, because your back is like this. There's no sign that you broke your back. He said, I cannot tell you as a doctor, I cannot back this up. of how this healed up in this short period of time. They said, but keep doing what you're doing because you're healed.
Well,
So
brother,
this one,
our God is a God of miracles. I
yeah,
mean,
exactly.
man, that's beautiful.
That's one of my favorite stories to tell. Is one of my testimonies, and man, I got some dark stories, of drug related stuff like that stuff. But that's is one of my true stories of what my God can do for me and anyone else that can heal you and stuff. And yeah, but I did. I was dreading to tell my mom because I didn't want to hear the mom's speech. But she threw a 180 on me and stuff and said we prayed, and she did. She's as strong faith as I am, and like my grandson, my kids, and we're a family of God, and I've been truly blessed, and that's what I have is called Him.
Absolutely. So, knowing everything you know at this point in your life, if you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Uh, that's a good question. In wrestling, just in general. I know we don't know talking about wrestling.
Just in general.
Trust God more. Those are sometimes that were I let the devil get in my head,
Yep.
and he almost he almost won to the point where I wouldn't have what I have now. I wouldn't be here at all. It's how dark he got in my head, and because I kind of I lost my way and lost my faith, and yeah, I've learned to step out more in faith as I got older, and it's hard sometimes. But I had a job, a good paying job, and I went on a 2 year contract. There were no promises of what would be left, but I was traveling across the U.S. training people with this company because we merged two companies together stuff, and everybody kept saying, "Well, what are you going to do after this?" I said, "I don't know," and I kept this one line that was, "My God has got me this far; He'll take me further." And for a while, it took me a minute to believe you can say it all day long, but until you believe it, it doesn't really count. And I had to believe it, and like toward the end of the 2 year contract is a position that I left became open. So 2 year contract over stuff, I put all my same pictures back in my same office, on my same nail holes, and hung her back up.
That's cool.
And I don't know how people could say that, but I did. I had strong faith that he would take care of me, and he did. But I
Yep.
would just say trust God more and don't let the devil in your head or in your heart.
Gotcha. So, over the years that you've been doing this, and again, this may be kind of tough to narrow down, but do you have a favorite venue that you've wrestled in? Is there a venue that's special to you?
Rome, Georgia. It was an old drive-in theater, and that's where the Nightmare Ted Allen ran some shows. He did some WCWs. That's the first place I worked. One of my first ever legends was against Duck Summers. Was the Dillard's Music Park in Rome, Georgia. And for a long time,
Okay.
it was nothing pretty. It was nothing pretty, but it was like the Madison Square Garden of indie wrestling in Rome. So if you were doing a show in Rome, Georgia, Dillard's Music Park was the place to be. And it's like the
Gotcha.
who's that comes through there. Uh, One of the last few matches that Big Bossman had was at that show, and the New Jack has been through there. I mean, like I said, WCW ran shows, so that it's like it just you set up a ring and did shows. That's always been a real special place. It was magical. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I made a lot of money, a lot of members in the place, and I say sometimes it was some of the most rough looking places like the Texas, Dallas, Texas. That wasn't the prettiest place, but it made money. It was magic. Rome was always a good place to me. Deltaville, Georgia was always a good place. the venue I mentioned earlier about my homecoming show in Beaver, Georgia, the Tannery it was just fun. The way it was laid out, the way the crowd flowed through, it was really cool. And then of course my OG would be the Beaufort High School Gym. It's where I saw my first live match. So that holds a special place. I've seen shows there. I've seen my brother wrestle there. Never did, but it's still there. But like us, a little rough around the edges nowadays.
Oh yeah. So, something that we've
Oh,
done
sorry.
in all of, go ahead.
The Omni was magical.
Oh yes.
Christmas night, Thanksgiving night, New Year's Eve nights, and other matches like that. The Omni was, if you want to go big, the Omni was the place.
Oh yeah. I mean, back in the day, the Omni was like the Mecca. I mean, it was
A lot of
absolutely.
memories happen in that place. Magical.
Oh yeah, for sure. So something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the current guest ask a question for the next guest. So my previous guest from just a couple nights ago was a wrestler based out in San Diego, California. His name's J2 Mattioli. And he, besides being a wrestler, he is also the co-owner and head trainer at Primal Pro Wrestling out there. And the question that he asked is, if you were to start a wrestling school, what would you call it and what would be the goal?
I'm going to skip the first part.
Okay.
Teach them to love the sport. I mean, there's so many people who want to get it because they think they make money or want celebrity status. Is love to learn the business. Learn that the doors just don't open magically and magic happens. Pay your dues. I'm a big believer in paying your dues and whatever aspects you are. Referee, announcers, is pay your dues. Learn the fundamental stuff. I mean, I'm old, and I believe old school magic still works.
Mm-hmm.
I'm nothing against the new school, but I'm like is you teach them the basics. Um, you know, you got to love this, and I would teach them that if somebody gives you a gimmick and you don't feel it, don't try it. Because like I
Yep.
said earlier, if it needs to be a part of you, it needs to be tied to you at some point. You know,
Yep.
and because if you don't feel it, how you expect the fans to feel it? If you're not believing it, how and why should they believe so? So I would like is to teach them. You know, is you got to respect yourself in the business and find something that is you and make it your own. Like I say, you turn up a couple of notches, you got to make it work. You can't force it on nowadays. Um,
Absolutely.
what would I call it? I don't know. Because I don't want to make it about me stuff. I've run a couple of wrestling schools and we just tied it into the local promotion that allows us to use their ring or their building, some of that stuff. So I would probably just tie in with whoever it is, and don't make it personal about me because it's never about me. It's about us as a whole. It takes everybody to make a show happen. It takes selling tickets, selling concessions, putting the chairs up and breaking down. It takes everybody. Like you need the person who's there right at the beginning of the show. You need the first match, the main event. Everybody's more as a key part. I tell everybody, think of it as a wheel with spokes. If we're all fine tuned and rolling, everything goes smooth. If you get a couple of wobbly wheels, it wobbles. The show still goes through, but it's not a perfect show. So it takes everybody and give everybody equal love.
Yep. Yeah, it's the old saying, it takes a village.
Exactly. True that.
Yep.
It's like, because everybody thinks I'm the superstar, or I'm I'm the main event. They're here for me. No, they're here for the whole show. Did you help sell tickets? Exactly, you did. But it takes everybody. The person getting your ring gear. I'm a firm believer. It's not me. It's we. Because
Yep.
we made this happen. Now did I sell extra tickets or whatever? Yes, but it takes us as a whole to make the show go.
Absolutely. So we're pretty much at the end of things now. So do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you want to give some hype to?
Like I said, don't know what happened, but I'm the current Georgia Classic Championship Wrestling, and they run in old Buckhead, Georgia, um, every last Saturday of the month. So I'm pretty much committed to do some bookings with them until I'm no longer the champion. Pretty much scattered out, and I'm pretty good. This week I've been kind of slacking because I'm on vacation with my grandson. Um, but I'm pretty good about throwing out my dates, and because I'm cheesy, I'm the king of cheese. I actually retired in 2017, so people keep saying, "I thought you retired." I said, "I did," because I think in anything you do, if you commit to your retirement, that's your one special swan song moment. If you come back and try to do multiple retirement tours, I'm not a firm believer. So me being cheesy and being a rocker, I'm on my encore presentation. So most of your best hits, if you've ever been to a rock and roll concert or any concert, some of your best hits come in the encore. So that's what I'm on right now is the encore tour. But I'm pretty good about putting it out there and stuff, and I'll list any kind of posters, promotions. So I'm pretty good about. I'm calling myself a self pimp, and I
Yeah.
put my business out there because I tell everybody, Facebook, social media, not just Facebook, any social media, and this is for the young kids to heart. Use it. Back in the day, we didn't have this luxury of free advertisements to push shows, to make bookings, to make money, to be seen. Use it, and I see so many people. Now I'm on soapbox now, who put their personal business out there. Some things
Mm-hmm.
like a death in family is you need that family. But I
Right.
miss a car payment, or I can't do this, I can't afford this, or I lost my job. No, the name reads professional wrestling, and that's how you need to carry yourself as a professional. And if you're having a bad day, that's when you have your personal circle of friends and families to reach out to. But the fans come to see us, they watch us, and I tell people, as a pro wrestler, we are the cheapest form of therapy there is.
Yep.
We sell tickets, people come to the shows, they scream and holler, they forget what's outside those doors for at least 2 to 3 hours. And that's what I give as a bay face. I try to give that one-on-one fan experience. And if the bad guys, so they'll go back to work on Monday. Say, hey, you should have been there. I called that SOB or everything in the book. It gave them a proud moment. Or hey, my favorite wrestler took time out with me and the kids. They took some photos about that. They have those moments. We are therapists. So if you're having a bad day, you find your own therapist, but do not use social media to book because we are their escape for a moment. And I'm a firm believer is keep your business to you and your people
Yep.
and be a professional. So sorry being on the soapbox.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that.
No, man, I completely get it. But as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, um, this Friday, May 29th, 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 p.m. Pacific, we've got episode 233, and our guest is actually a wrestler out of Northern California, the Stockton area, the Blue Flame Alpha Zoe. He actually is also a wrestling trainer up there, and I actually had one of his students on the show recently, and his student basically hooked me up with him, and and we were finally able to get a date, and so he'll be coming on Friday, and then this coming Tuesday. Can you believe it's already fixing to be June? But
Craziness.
this coming Tuesday, June 2nd, 7 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 234, And our guest is a wrestler based out of West Virginia, but mostly wrestles around Appalachia. The Dark Child, Chance Prophet. And he and I have talked a bit back and forth, and I think this is going to be a really fun conversation. I'm definitely looking forward to having him on the show.
I think Chance has been around for a minute, hasn't
he? He has, yeah.
Yeah.
But Terry, this has been an absolute pleasure. I am so glad this worked out that we ended up being able to do this tonight. And,
I apologize for being late.
Hey, man, stuff happens. And, you can fully consider yourself to be part of the Throwdown family now, and you've got a standing invitation to come back anytime you want. And,
so my question
go ahead.
My question to your next guest or guest is,
yes,
how important do they feel the first person in the match is to walk in the ring? I mean, because and I teach it to my kids, and I don't want to feed the extra stuff. Look, you see guys walking around like squaring off, walking around the ring, and everybody, and a lot of people don't know why. They think it's just part of the show. But the way I was trained was the first person in the ring has the chance to walk the ring to find the bad spots, so nobody falls into the bad spots or gets hurt. So I think it's very important that person who is in the ring first relays the match to the next guy, the next match. Hey, this board's out of whack. So that's my question: is how important do they feel that first person in the ring is?
That's actually a really good question. It's going to be interesting. I may use that question more than once.
Okay.
Because I mean, in a title match, you generally always have the challenger come out first, and then the champion. But I've even seen recently they've been reversing some of that, where they'll have the champion come out first. So who knows. But yeah, I mean that's a wow.
Because
I'm impressed.
Because they're always walking around like looking eyeball and walking around like, making movements. But the deal is you're always because the ring can change from match to match. You can leave the ring up for 24/7 months at a time, but every time it's going to shift. So as always been told was that first person ring comes in the ring and either shares it with the referee. Sometimes the referee needs to do it, but it lets know, hey, we need to avoid this part of the ring or this ring part of this. It's just I always felt like that was a very important because you need me in the match as much as I need you in the match. Because if we're doing a storyline, if you get hurt, my part of the story is over too. So we got to protect. I call it protect and respect. That's what it's called. So.
Absolutely. But like I said, man, this has been an absolute pleasure. And hopefully I'll get out to another show with you on the card, and I can actually shake your hand and say a few words to you in person. I would love that.
So you live in Winder, right?
I live in Tequila.
Tequila. June the 13th is a Saturday. It's a Buford at the Fraser's Harley Davidson store. It's a free show.
Okay.
And it's the same people, One Fall Wrestling. I actually got them booking because that's my people out there with. So I would love to one-on-one with you. If you got time that day. I think the first match is they got 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 2 o'clock because it's a customer appreciation day.
Sounds good. Yeah. As far as I know, I'm free that day, so I will definitely plan to come out and shake your hand.
No, I'm a hugger. I apologize. I do handshakes, but I'm also a hugger.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So anyway, for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, definitely do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe.
That's it.
And until Friday, at 7 p.m. with Alpha Zoe from Northern California. Be good to each other, love each other, and let's keep throwing down.